You ever get that feeling when you're driving and suddenly a cop pulls you over, but you're thinking, wait, I didn't do anything wrong. No speeding, no texting, no running a stop sign, just cruising. And yet, lights come on behind you. Can they really do that? Pull you over when you haven't actually broken a traffic law? Let's talk about it and break down what Florida law actually allows. I'm Rick Fletcher, and I am a criminal defense lawyer here in St. Petersburg, Florida. Every week, I help clients who have been pulled over and arrested, often for DUI, when the reason for the stop is questionable at best. And I get this question all the time. Don't they need a reason to pull me over? Well, yes, but it's not always the reason that you think. Today, we're diving into when an officer can make a traffic stop even if you didn't commit a ticketable offense, and how courts in Florida have drawn the line between legal stops and illegal ones. Because here's the truth. If the stop itself wasn't valid, then any evidence they find afterwards might be thrown out. That's the key to getting your case dismissed. Let's start with what the law says. Now, police generally need probable cause to pull you over. What does that mean? That means that they saw you break a law. But there's a lower standard called reasonable suspicion. It doesn't require proof, just an officer's belief that something might be wrong based on what they observe. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Reasonable suspicion can be based on things that aren't illegal. For example, slowing down dramatically, or weaving slightly, or pulling off to the road unexpectedly. Florida courts have said that if these behaviors look like signs of impairment, illness, or hazard, that may be enough to justify a stop. Let's look at what real cases have said on this issue. First up, we have the case of the State Department of Highway Safety v. Deshong from Florida's 2nd District Court of Appeals. In this case, an officer saw a driver maintaining their lane, no swerving, no crossing lines, but relying heavily on the lane lines to guide the vehicle's position. Then, for no apparent reason, the driver suddenly slowed from 55 miles per hour down to 30 miles per hour and then accelerated quickly again. The officer didn't pull the driver over for speeding or weaving, but he thought something was wrong. Maybe the driver was impaired, sick, or falling asleep, and the court agreed with them. They said that even without a technical violation, the stop was legal because the driving pattern looked erratic, enough to suggest a potential safety issue. That is huge because it confirms that Florida law allows stops for reasons other than just breaking the rules of the road. But that doesn't mean officers can stop you for just anything. The courts still require some kind of observed behavior, and it has to mean something more than "I had a hunch." Let's look at a case where the court said, nope, that's not enough. In Deshong v. State, a case decided in 2023 in Florida's 5th District, the facts were different. The officer saw a driver make a wide turn and briefly cross into the bike lane. That was it. No weaving, no excessive speed, no near misses. The officer stopped the driver and ended up making a DUI arrest, but the court said, hold on, a momentary swerve or a technically wide turn doesn't give you enough to say the driver might be impaired. There has to be more, a pattern of unsafe driving, something that indicates danger. So this case tells us behavior has to rise above the level of a minor mistake. A single wide turn by itself won't cut it. Now let's look at Nicholas v. State. This is a 2003 case from the 5th District, and here the officer saw the driver make a left turn from the right-hand lane. Not great driving, sure, but the driver didn't cut anyone off or come close to causing a crash. The stop was based on just a few seconds of observation. And again, the court said that is not enough. Without more evidence of impairment or more erratic driving, that kind of moment doesn't justify a full stop. So here's the key takeaway from these cases. In Florida, police can stop you without citing a traffic law, but only if they have a specific, articulable fact or facts that suggest something is wrong. Usually, that means impaired driving or danger to others. The behavior has to look unsafe, not just technically incorrect. So what might justify a stop? Drifting or weaving repeatedly, abrupt speed changes or jerky, panicky movements, stopping in the middle of traffic for no reason, What probably won't justify a stop? A single wide turn, momentary touch of the bike lane, an unusual but harmless maneuver. Courts want officers to observe a pattern, not just a one-off slip. Now let's say this happens to you. You get pulled over and you genuinely have no idea why. Here's what to do. First, you stay calm, you keep your hands visible, comply with basic instructions, and once things move past license and registration, and they start asking, where are you coming from? Or have you had anything to drink? That's when you use your rights. Say, I'd like to remain silent, or I'd like to speak with my lawyer. Do not try to talk your way out of it. That rarely helps and usually gives them more to work with. When we get hired on these cases, the very first thing we look at is, was the stop legal? If it wasn't, everything after that could be thrown out. That includes breath tests, statements, even evidence found in the car. These motions to suppress are powerful tools and often the key to getting a case dismissed. Now at Fletcher & Fletcher, we know how to fight traffic stops that never should have happened. If you or someone you care about has been arrested after a questionable stop, let's talk. We'll review your dash cam footage, we'll review the body cam footage, we'll pull the reports, and if the law is on your side, we'll go after it. You can call us at 727-369-9850. If you've found this information to be helpful and it helps you understand your rights a little bit better, then do 3 things for me. Hit that like button so YouTube shows this to more people who need to see it. Subscribe so you don't miss future legal breakdowns that actually matter and can apply. Now, and also drop a comment if you've ever been pulled over without knowing why. And remember, just because you didn't get a ticket doesn't mean the stop was legal, and just because they ask questions doesn't mean you have to answer. Stay calm, stay smart, and always call your lawyer.